I am excited for this clip. So this is another clip from a brand new movie called To the Trees. If people want to check out the website, it's tothetreesfilm.com. We'll mention that again in a minute. But here is a brand new clip. We showed you the trailer. Yeah, short clip. We showed you the trailer a few weeks ago, but we want to bring you a little more. Where'd it go?
A lot of times, like, honestly, I'm like, okay, I have all these talking points, but a lot of days I wake up and I'm just like, I'm just here because I started living in this tree because this fucking corporation marked it with a blue line and said they were gonna truck it off to this sawmill. And so I was like, I'm living in this tree, and now I'm in love with this fucking tree, and I really don't want her to die. And regardless of whatever, like how much carbon sequestration value this forest has, or how many acres are happening here, or what timber harvest plan was filed there, I just like don't want this organism to die. And that's kind of, then that's what I'm like, maybe that's the whole thing I'm doing.
So cool. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, without giving obviously her name or anything it gives away, but talk a little about who she is and what she's doing.
They.
But
Oops.
I'll fix that. Just talk.
Fix what?
The black screen.
Oh, it's a little dramatic. No, but so I like this clip because, so if you haven't seen the film, one of the things that I talk about is the relationship with nature and how that has to change. And some people might watch this clip and be like, wow, that's fucking silly. But if you think about it, it's really not. Because if you think about it, like the things and the people that you love in life are those which you would protect. So obviously you'd protect your family, you'd protect your dog, you'd protect, think of something non-animal or human that you love that you'd be willing to protect. And I think the problem is that a lot of people will then jump to, well, I really love my house or my car, or I love my bike, or
I love breathing oxygen.
Well, no, my point is a lot of people, if you ask them to go down a list of things that they love,
yeah,
of course, it's your family, your friends, your fucking pets, whatever, the squirrel that you feed out back, whatever. But oftentimes it's not going to be, oh my gosh, I love the forest, or I love the little creek that's a couple miles from my home. You're going to name inanimate shit first. I love these new boots I got. And I'm not trying to, I also have things that are inanimate that I love. Like I love my guitar, but that's not like, so my point is
that you're right. The people would normally focus on the things in their direct circle, like their family and their pets.
Well, right. But my point is that once you get past that, you start focusing on inanimate shit before you ever even get to living ecosystems. And that is fucked up. If you think about the necessary shift that must happen for us to protect any kind of livable future, we have to then shift so that maybe those boots are less important on your list than the trees that are part of the ecosystem where you live, or the watershed, or what have you. Like our whole value system has to shift. And this is why I love that this forest defender, that they shared that with me. Like I love that that I could capture that, because while a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction is to make fun of it, it really shows more about the person making fun of it than it does about the forest defender. Because it's like, well, your priorities are fucked up, dude. Like the fact that you think it's weird or silly for someone to love a tree more so than loving a car or whatever is really fucked up. And it really shows in the way that we interact with our ecosystems.
Like we wouldn't make fun of someone generally for saying they love their car.
No.
Like it's fairly normal in our society for someone to be like, man, I really love my car. It's just great.
Yeah.
And they'll show it to you, and they'll show you what they like about it.
Yeah.
And yet if someone says they love a tree, our first inclination is, bah, loser. Right. And it's like, well, one of those, even if you just ignore the fact that the forest is what keeps us alive in many ways, even if you ignore that fact, one's alive and one's not. Like a car is not alive. But then to go beyond that, obviously we need these ecosystems because we are part of this world. We are part of the natural world. We have grown the entire like sentiment and culture of especially the United States, but of a lot of countries is, and a lot of places in the world is, we are outside of the natural world. We dominate it, and that is it. But in fact, we are fucking part of it. And as it fades into oblivion, so do we.
Yeah, very well put. And that was what I wanted to highlight with that clip and including it in the film. But what was your question before I launched into this explanation?
I just asked for, without details that give them away, just kind of who they are and what group they're with or what
so
they're doing.
They're a local to that area. This is in Northern California, about like I'd say 5 or so hours north of San Francisco. Because there's a lot above San Francisco. I think a lot of people, like when they think of the map of California, they're just like, oh yeah, there's LA like in the middle, and then there's San Diego, and then up north there's San Francisco, and it's like that's not actually the geography of California at all. Like Los Angeles is definitely like Southern California.
And California is massive.
It's basically the size of Sweden.
Yeah.
So like think of it as its own country, which in fact it could be because it has like the 6th largest economy in the world.
I thought it was 5th, but it might be 6th.
Oh, whatever. Also, I think my numbers are from pre-pandemic, so fuck knows now. I have no idea. But so they're a local, and basically they were already engaged in forest defense, but as they point out later in the film, they just started tree sitting because they walked into these beautiful forests and they were like, gosh, this is marked with tape, basically a tape that marks it for being clear cut. And it was as simple as like, I don't want this to happen. This is fucked up. And I think that also is something that, that they talk more about in the film, but it's really that simple. Like, I think a lot of times we feel hamstrung and paralyzed. Like, oh God, I don't know how to fight. I have to find the best way to do this and like the most powerful way. And it's like, yes, that'd be great. Like if you happen to live next to like the most beautiful forests or whatever, but it's like every ecosystem is important because, and this is, again, this can sound hippy dippy, but it's actually true because they're all fucking connected. So you might have forests that aren't redwood forests, that aren't as breathtakingly postcard Instagram worthy, or what have you, but they're still a part of an important ecosystem, just like we saw in Atlanta. It's like that forest may not be the kind of forest that ends up on postcards, but it is an important ecosystem in and of itself. It's also an important cultural space. So these places, wherever you are, there are these places that need protecting. And that, as this forest defender points out, that need people to protect them out of a place of love, not just out of a place of like, well, I guess this is the thing that I'm supposed to do. Like, it shouldn't feel like, oh, this empty obligation. It should feel like I am protecting a part of my community, a part of my home place, because you are. Just like we're taught in America to protect our home, your home is your castle. Like, what if you flipped that teaching and said that, okay, but this ecosystem is my castle.
It's my home. Yeah.
It's my home. And I will protect it to the death, or whatever the fuck other, Clint Eastwood-esque line you want to apply to it. Like, what if we took that perspective instead? Like, holy shit, that would be powerful. And that's the message there.
It's an amazing film. I hope people check it out.
It's short too. It's only like 34 minutes. So
34-minute documentary on the fight that is ongoing. It's at tothetreesfilm.com. And Eleanor's last film, Hard Road of Hope, was a grand jury selection by about 13. Isn't that what it's called? A jury selection, something? I don't know.
Isn't a grand jury the shit that like Chelsea Minnie had to deal with? I
find all juries grand. I find them all grand.
I found that one not grand. They can suck it. But
anyway, a jury selection. I don't know what that's called, but of about 13 different film festivals. You did it again where you corrected me. Well, you can just let me be wrong about something. Just that'd be fine.